Should I start? Hello, I'm Veronica, and I'm an Ambassador Girl Scout, part of Troop 3107 in Manhattan. It's my pleasure to introduce New York City's First Lady, Chirlane McCray.
Thank you, Veronica. Give her some more applause. Well done. New York City is looking bright with Veronica leading the way. Now, 4 years ago, when our family first moved to Gracie Mansion, I gotta tell you something. One of the first things I noticed was the artwork. Gracie's walls were adorned with images of men, a couple of their family members, but mostly white male figures of wealth, power, and privilege. And here we were, living in a house on land once inhabited by Native Americans, and a house built by free and enslaved black people, with an interior managed and maintained by a host of domestics, some immigrants, some enslaved, but mostly women. So my team and I, we got right to work. We wanted to make sure that Gracie Mansion, which is known as the People's House, reflected the vibrant diversity of our city's history and all the people who helped build it and shape it. From the enslaved and free black people to pioneering Asian traders and Jewish, Irish, and Italian immigrants to the Algonquin people who preceded them all. We have made remarkable progress over the past few years, but our challenge extends well beyond the walls of the People's House. New York City is home to many beautiful parks, historical monuments, and public art displays. And any walking tour of the 5 boroughs raises a big question. Where are all the women? Yeah. Right? Where are they? If you know where to look, you can find 1 or 2 here and there. Here in Bryant Park, there are 2 women memorialized, Josephine Shaw Lowell and Gertrude Stein, but there are not many more throughout our great city. That's out of hundreds of monuments commemorating men of European descent. Hundreds. Finding monuments that honor women should not be a scavenger hunt. Do you agree? Yeah. Because young girls, like all of these wonderful Girl Scouts who are here with us today, are watching. And our boys are watching too. We want to send the right message. When there are no representations of the women who built this city, women of all ethnicities, the message is that women's contributions are worth less than men's. When gender nonconforming people are never mentioned or made visible, the message is they don't exist. When women are excluded from the stories told in public spaces, the message is we don't matter to our city's identity. We feel that deeply as girls and women. It is a negative message that defies the reality of every young boy's and grown man's life. There are already so many forces at work in our society telling girls and women that we are not important. Public monuments should not make us question our worth. They should accurately represent our history and inspire us to realize our potential. That's why the City of New York is today launching a campaign to honor more women and people outside the gender binary in our public spaces. Because the truth is, we cannot tell the story of New York City without recognizing the invaluable contributions of women of all ethnicities and those outside the gender binary. This Pride Month, how can we celebrate New York City as the birthplace of the LGBTQ movement without acknowledging Marsha P. Johnson and Sylvia Rivera, 2 transgender women of color who led the way, or the warrior poet and activist Audre Lorde, who played a pivotal role in my own personal history as well as the city's. No commemoration of the Harlem Renaissance would be complete without Zora Neale Hurston, Nella Larson, or Dorothy West. So many amazing women writers and artists who have been forgotten by history are ready to be discovered and honored. Here in the ultimate city of immigrants, we must recognize the millions of women and mothers whose courage and determination to build better lives for their children helped to shape our world. That's a monument we need to see, perhaps now more than ever. The founding mothers of the civil rights movement, the activists who stood up for their reproductive rights, the women of the labor movement. The number of women, both known and unknown to history, worthy of recognition in New York City and New York City's public spaces is endless, which makes their exclusion so egregious and our campaign to honor them so urgent. She Built New York City is just a first step on a long path to equity and only one part of a bigger mission. And now it is my pleasure to introduce a powerhouse women leader who works hard every day to help the women of New York City succeed, Deputy Mayor Alicia Glen.
Wow, thank you so much, and thank you, Veronica, for being here, and the rest of you guys. I just want to I couldn't say I have a better partner in all of this work than our First Lady. She is truly the best spokesperson for this kind of work any of us could have. We're all very lucky to have her. Let's please give her another round of applause. And there are so many people who have been working on this initiative, but one special shout out to our Commissioner of Cultural Affairs, Tom Finkelpearl. He is a man, but he's a really, really fabulous man who cares a lot about this work. So thank you for everything you do. Look, I'm really excited to be here today because I think this is a day we finally start putting women where they belong. On pedestals, right? And as the First Lady said, equal representation in our public spaces really matters, right? We can either create a public realm that inspires young women to dream big and change the world, or we can perpetuate a message that women have not and do not contribute equally to our economy, to building businesses, to advancing science and technology, to promoting arts and culture, and to creating some of these amazing buildings. But we know that's not true. We know that women have done all of these things. As a born and bred New Yorker, I'm really proud of the fact that our city has this unbelievably unique and rich history of cultivating women leaders. Let's just think of what's going on right now in the U.S. Supreme Court. We have 3 women from the U.S. Supreme Court, and where are they from? Brooklyn, Bronx, and Manhattan. So let's get 2 more from 2 more boroughs, right? Let's do it. I don't think it's a coincidence. You know what? I want my daughters who are here to be able to walk down the street and acknowledge and see that there's an acknowledgement of all of these amazing women who have made New York City what it is, a global center of commerce and culture and innovation and equality and inclusion. I want them to live in a city that acknowledges that Elizabeth Blackwell was the first female doctor, and she came from New York City, that praises and deifies Margaret Sanger for founding Planned Parenthood and making sure that generations of women have access to health care. I want to be in a city where people walk down the street and my kids and all of you can applaud Shirley Chisholm for moving the mountain she did to become the first African-American woman elected to Congress. And she fought all the fights that we continue to do today, but she was an amazing pioneer. I want to be in a city where Edith Wharton gets prized for being the first female novelist to win a Pulitzer Prize for literature. How many people even knew that? And I want to be here in a city that celebrates the fact that we were home to the first female U.S. cabinet appointee, the amazing Frances Perkins, a fierce advocate for workers' rights, for exactly the kind of work that the First Lady was referring to and really personifies New York City's values. So despite these unbelievable trailblazers, and trust me, there are a million more I could have listed, as we said, there's only about 90% of our monuments. 90% of our monuments are male. And that's a statistic that's pretty shocking, but not surprising. I grew up near Central Park. In Central Park, there are 22 monuments to men and 1 to Alice in Wonderland. Not even a real woman. You know, give me a break. Enough is enough. So that's why we're launching today She Built NYC, to honor the women who have built this town and made New York City the amazing place it is, but also to send a message to all the young women that you too can grow up and will change the world. So here's how it works. Let's get down to how it's really going to work. Starting today, we're going to take nominations from anyone. This is a chance for everybody to participate in writing the next chapter of New York City's history. All you have to do is visit our website, women.nyc, not difficult, and you will submit the woman or the event related to a women's issue that you think deserves recognition. The guidelines are really simple, guys. Anybody can do this. I want you to tell all your friends, right? We can all do this. The person has to have a significant connection to New York City, has to be a woman or a group of women or an important event in women's history. And that has to have happened at least 20 years ago, or the person would have had to be dead for 20 years. It's sad, but it's a great way to really acknowledge people's contributions to history. The form on the website will ask you to submit a few words about why you think that person or event or group deserves to be a monument, and you can do it until August 1. Once we receive all of the nominations, we have an incredible advisory panel of people who are going to sort through all of that work, and they're going to stand. Many of us are here today. They can introduce themselves, but we're going to try to get all those nominations boiled down to, let's say, 5 or 6 amazing women or groups of women who we want to celebrate. We will then work on connecting the sites and the artists and the person or the event that we want to commemorate, and we're going to announce who that is by the end of this year. So this is happening in real time. We will know what the first of many, many, many monuments are going to be by the end of the year, and the City of New York is going to be paying for this commission so we can start what I hope is a long, rich history of correcting the rights and the wrongs by making sure that women can see women all around New York City. So in a city where we still don't have every woman getting 6 paid weeks of parental leave, where women still aren't making enough money, where we don't have the representation we need, here's a chance to start to correct the historical record and build a new chapter for New York City. And when we talk about the future of New York City, I want to introduce a member of that future, Mia Emanuel, who is going to share with us the first nomination. Come on up, Mia. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mia, and I'm a member of the Girl Scouts Leadership Institute. I'm so excited to be here with my fellow Girl Scouts to celebrate this new and important initiative. Here in New York, there aren't enough women represented in our monuments and statues. There are 150 monuments of men, while there are only about a dozen monuments of real women. It's important for girls to have examples of female leadership so they can be encouraged to become leaders. Girl Scouts has connected me with many female leaders. I'm very happy to know that the First Lady and Deputy Mayor are helping to fix this problem in New York. My nomination is Juliette Gordon-Lowe, the founder of Girl Scouts. Thank you. She started a movement for girls' leadership nationwide. Juliet wrote the Girl Scout Handbook and established the headquarters here in New York City. I can't wait to see the great examples of women leaders honored with statues all over New York City. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you, Mia. Please give her some more applause. And now it is my pleasure to introduce another extraordinary woman, a 4-time Tony-nominated actress. She currently stars in Showtime's Billions and just finished a run playing Joan of Arc on Broadway at Broadway's St. Joan. So she knows something about playing extraordinary women. Please join me in welcoming the gifted Condola Rashad.
Hello. I am Condola Rashad, and I'm an artist. I am a performing artist. I'm a storyteller. I am a lifelong New Yorker, born and raised. And I'm here today because I believe so deeply in what the First Lady and Deputy Mayor are doing here. Representation seeing yourself in the things in the city that you love is essential. And to now take that into a different context as an artist, growing up, I loved science fiction, fantasy. That was my genre. Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter, Narnia, you name it, that was my world. And I remember growing up, the feeling of seeing these films and realizing that I didn't ever really see anybody that looked like me. And I was privileged, I can acknowledge that, and lucky enough that I grew up in a family of artists, and so my imagination was cultivated. And so I felt that I was raised in a household that cultivated my artistry in a sense where I could still connect to these films. But I also remember that growing up, a lot of the other young people who looked like me, who were around me, maybe did not have that kind of an upbringing where they were encouraged to develop their own imagination. And when you can't see yourself in any of the heroes on the journey, one might feel left out. One might feel left behind. One might feel that these kinds of stories of heroism are not for them and are not about them. And they might have believed that this incredible world of imagination, these worlds without rules, these worlds that could be created with no boundaries, were simply not a place that they could go, that they were not invited to go. And I wonder sometimes what amazing creations we have missed out on because these young people who look like me never believed that they could let their imaginations run wild. Now, to bring it back to the context of why we're here today, if young people see it, they will believe that they can be it. And I am so very, very proud to be standing here with all of you today. And in this moment where we continue to fight and we continue to fight the injustices and absolute atrocities that are happening in this country right now, this project also gives us the opportunity to cultivate, strengthen, and support our local community and our young people and the way they view themselves as a part of our society and how they can affect it. And I am so very honored to nominate Audre Lorde, the legendary writer, poet, librarian, and civil rights activist whose works helped to further the conversations, very important conversations, about sexism, sexuality, homophobia, and racism, who from 1991 all the way through her passing in 1992 was acknowledged as the New York State's Poet Laureate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Condola. New York City is fortunate to have many leaders and representatives who fight for equity every day and who remind us that children cannot be what they do not see. So no one fights harder than our public advocate. Please join me in welcoming Tish James.
So Eleanor Roosevelt basically said it's up to the women. It's up to the women. And at a time when children are being ripped from their parents, it's really going to be up to the women to turn things around. And as someone who was once a Girl Scout, yes, so honored and privileged to be with so many leaders. And ladies, the reason why we have so many monuments and statues dedicated to men is because men were in the majority in a number of these legislative houses, which is why, young ladies, we need you to run for office, because we need more women in office. We need you at the table. We need you at the seat of power to get things done and to stand up to bullies, right? And something tells me a girl with glasses will make it happen. My glasses are in the car. So you cannot be if you cannot see. And so they need to see women. They need to see them. And so I'm happy and so proud to be here to celebrate this moment, but this is also a movement. And at a time when women are being harassed and devalued and belittled and attacked on every level, it's so important that we come together in celebration of all of the women that have contributed to our society. It's nice to have a symbol of how far we've come as women and all that we are destined to achieve. So on the heels of the fearless girl, yes, who stands as a symbol of power, for young people and old people. I'm thrilled that New York City will finally get its own champion, and that is a woman with high heels. A permanent dedication to a woman who has made this city what it is today. Because we all know that this city's long history is filled with extraordinary and powerful achievements of women and for women and because of women. And I know I'm not alone in saying it's about time that women are represented in monument form. It's critically important that we have a permanent fixture of female strength and achievement in this city to serve as a reminder to all women that no dream is too big and no ceiling is too high, and that all of you young ladies, all of you young Girl Scouts, all of you have the power to make a difference in this world and to stand up on behalf of countless number of women and countless number of children, particularly now, children with no voice, children who are invisible. It's up to you, as Eleanor Roosevelt said. It's up to each and every one of you. And that power and that strength lies within you. And so from one Girl Scout to another, or as someone once said, from one brownie to another, because I'm still a brownie, I just want to commend Commissioner Tom Finkelpearl. He is chair of the Men Who Get It Committee. Thank you so much. He's truly a feminist. We want to thank him for his leadership. We want to thank our amazing and our fabulous First Lady, Chirlane McCray. Another round of applause. Oh, come on, you can do better than that, ladies. Come on, I like making noise. It's okay. Woo! I make a lot of noise sometimes, you know. And we want to thank them for prioritizing the contributions of women in their project. And this particular initiative will go far in ensuring that the women of the past are not forgotten, and that the women of tomorrow are empowered, and we feel your strength. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you so much, Tish. And thank you all for being here. I want you to know I was a Girl Scout too. I hope you all will stay behind so we can take some photos. And everyone, please remember to submit your nominations. Anyone can nominate someone for, anyone can nominate a woman for this project. You can go right to women.nyc, or if you want more information about what the criteria is, go to women.nyc. Everyone has that? And women.nyc. That's where you go for more information. Thank you all.